So guys, recording is on. Thank you so much, everyone, to be here today. Today's Saturday, December 17, 2022. The year 2022 is almost over. I have a special greetings from C.N.H.C team to everyone, whoever is watching us. And as we know, we made a great cause by raising awareness, bringing education to the public in 2022. We worked so hard, and I appreciate every one of you, your cooperation, your contribution, your participation, your sharing knowledge with us, with people. And we definitely await for a great effect that is going to be reaching us one way or another in the future. So this platform is for the public. As we professionals, we are the experts. We have different platforms that we are sharing our knowledge, views, and perspectives with each other. When we integrate, we collaborate. That was a different platform, but this one is strictly for the public because we don't want to just share our knowledge with each other. We want to bring it to the public. And this is very essential. And as I said, again, I appreciate your knowledge, that sharing it with the public. And we're going to move forward with this platform with the different features in the future. But I am open to all the ideas from you guys, how we can conduct it in 2023 for the public. So please just share your ideas to come up with a different platform for 2023. So I think I welcomed everybody. So today we have, I'm trying to get my PowerPoint moving. So yeah. Today, we're going to talk about the gastrointestinal tract. I don't need to introduce myself. I think everybody knows me. But again, everybody knows me. I'm a homeopath. I'm an integrative medicine practitioner, and I'm founder of BioQuantum Academy, and also the director and leader of the C.N.H.C that started in 2022. So today we're going to talk about gastrointestinal health. So by natural approach. So all of us, we do have different approaches. We're all in the domain of natural medicine, but we practice different modalities and we have different approaches. We're coming together, all of us, to pass it to people, that people have choice. They can choose whatever is best suited for them. Whatever is resonates with them, they can integrate, they can combine it, they can choose like individual treatments for their gastrointestinal health. I work with homeopathic medicine, and I integrate with GMO therapy, with oligotherapy, with no-food, with organotherapy, and also multimolecular nutrition. So I would go a little bit and talk about my perspective. Then I pass it to you guys. As we know, what is food? Food, what does the food do in our system? But the human body doesn't know what is meat, what is chicken, what is fish, what is egg. But the human body knows only nutrients, such as protein and amino acid comes from this kind of food. Doesn't know starch, pastas, rice, potatoes, bread, but knows carbohydrate and simple sugar that comes from this food. The same thing with vegetables and fruits. Body doesn't know those things as separate things. It knows what nutrients, such as mineral and vitamins, comes from this food. So who does this job? Our digestive system. Our digestive system is a sophisticated, intelligent, and genius network of the organs and tissue that are working and collaborating together, and in order to convert all this food that we're putting into our system into the nutrients that they are essential for our life, for essentials for biological functions, and that's the job of the intestinal tract, gastrointestinal tract. So the same thing with oil, fat, butter, or whatever, the body doesn't know that. The body knows essential fatty acids, the building block of those foods. That's why it's very important what we put into our system. So what kind of food we choose that can turn to these nutrients. So we should get the maximum essential nutrients from food. When I say essential nutrients, it means the body cannot make them. There are nutrients that the body can make them from. A smaller molecule can make a larger molecule. They can break it down. They can, do some changes. But when it comes to essential nutrients, the body cannot make them. We have to get them from food. That's why food is essential to our lives. So, and we know that the digestive system is in charge of digesting food and break them down and absorbing food and pass it to the bloodstream, that it can be utilized and used as a fuel, repair, for making new cells, making new tissues, for our growth, recovery, making our neurotransmitters, enzymes, hormones, and everything. These are all coming from food. So digestive tract, as I said, is sophisticated. We call it second brain. Well, in a natural domain, it's very famous that digestive system is a second brain. But why it's a second brain? Because it's genius. So nobody tells them what to do. It just does it on its own intelligently. The reason is digestive system is the only system beside the central nervous system, beside the nervous system, has its own nervous system, has enteric nervous system. It works autonomy. It has autonomy on its own work. That's why we call it second brain. It means it's the only organ that has its own nervous system. So at this point, it's very important to understand how gastrointestinal works as a whole. So let me just get into the second brain again. So when I started studying nutrition, they call it second brain, but I didn't understand what do they mean. So it's because it's a sophisticated network with the enteric nervous system. As we know, almost 80% of our neurotransmitter, for example, serotonin, is made in the gut. So and then it travels to the brain. That's the reason they call it second brain. It does a lot of jobs that is similar to nervous system, that has autonomy on its own work. But at the whole, because the whole human body works harmoniously together, central nervous system also has affinity and has direct effect on our digestive system, to the point that we know when we can digest and when we cannot digest, when we should eat, when we should not eat. When that system, our body, in a sympathetic mode, sympathetic nervous system, which is we are in fight and flight, we are in high activities, in a stress, there is no digestion going to take place. When the body nervous system is in sympathetic nervous system mode, no digestion going to take place. That's why we always recommend everyone that when they are in high activity or during a stress or during nervousness or whatever, they should not put anything in their mouth, because there is no digestion going to happen. So we always have to bring the body into a parasympathetic nervous system, which is called rest and digest. So the only time that we can digest food is the time that we switch over from sympathetic nervous system to parasympathetic nervous system. So at this point, the whole central nervous system has affinity and has effect on digestive system as a whole, but from within, digestive system has own enteric nervous system that is working autonomy. So when that happens, for example, when we are in sympathetic nervous system, we are on treadmill, for example, we know that we're not supposed, even drinking water is wrong when you exercise. Nothing should be ingested or drunk when you are in a sympathetic nervous system mode. Because at this time, what the nervous system does, it just takes the blood from your digestive system and from the other organs and takes it to the most needed organs, such as heart, such as adrenal glands. So at this point, there is no much circulation in the digestive system. That's why eating, it should be prohibited during this kind of activities, because there is no circulation at that point. But when the exercise is finished or any stressful situation, you're out of it, then gradually the body comes in a parasympathetic nervous system, that the blood flow gradually comes to the digestive system, and is the time to eat. So to talk about more about the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, I can read it over. Although the gastrointestinal tract possesses intrinsic neural plexus that allow a significant degree of autonomy over GI function, the central nervous system provides extrinsic neural inputs that regulate, modulate, and control these functions. So there is no separation between the organs from the body, because the human body works as a whole. The sympathetic nervous system moves blood away to other organs such as heart and adrenals, interferes with the regular contractions of the muscles along the digestive system, and decreases enzyme suppression needed for proper digestion. It's a time that we are not supposed to eat. Nothing can be digested and nothing should be eaten. But at this point, I always, as a homeopath, even when we are going through a lot of a stressful situation, we immediately have to neutralize the charge, and the charge of the emotions or stress, not to have a like a steady or long-term effect on the digestive system. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for the body's rest and digest. When the body is relaxed, resting, or eating. That's why we always recommend, when you want to eat, have a bring yourself into peaceful states, a peaceful environment, no activities at all. Don't talk about negative things. Don't listen to the news. Don't try to stimulate your nervous system. Just have a calming effect. If, I don't know, you guys do it, I think most of us do it when we're sitting like as a group around the table for the dinner time or whatever. We always hold hands and we try to pray a little bit in order to bring our system into parasympathetic mode and in a peaceful environment for rest and digest. So the parasympathetic nervous system always decreases the respiration and heart rate and increases the digestion. So that's it. That's something that people should know exactly when to eat and when they should not eat. And the most important thing about a digestive system that is very, very intelligent is the pH level of the digestive system. For example, when you start, for example, the mouth, the digestion starts at the mouth. The mouth should be almost neutral, like salivary glands or saliva pH level is between 6.7 to 7.4, slightly alkaline, but it's mostly at the neutral level, because if it's acidic, it's gonna burn and melt down all the like a mucous membranes and tissues in the mouth. That's how the nature intelligently made it this way. So, and we know that the digestion starts in the mouth with saliva. And for example, the alpha amylase or hyaline, it's breaking down the starches in the mouth. So starches or carbohydrates started digesting in the mouth, because the stomach does not digest the carbs, only start in the mouth, and then it's going to wait in the stomach until it gets to the small intestine. There's a whole knowledge behind us that people have to know what to combine. For example, protein should not be combined with carbohydrates more often. The reason I can explain it if we have time, because protein is digested in the stomach, but carbs is digested in the mouth and in a small intestine. And during the time that the body is working on the stomach, on the proteins in the stomach, carbs is sitting there. And in so many times, it can be fermented and cause a lot of indigestion. So when it comes to the stomach is the most acidic part of the body. It's, imagine the acid drops down to 1. For proteins, like such as meat, such as red meat, it should go to 1 or 1.5, maximum 3. If it goes to 3.5 or 5 or 4, digestion does not take place in stomach. It's the most acidic organs in the body, with vagina as well. So stomach acid is highly acidic liquid your body naturally produces to help you digest protein and absorbs minerals. We know that minerals in nature, they're alkaline, but for absorption of minerals, they have to be in an acidic environment. That's why hydrochloric acid that is produced in the stomach is absorbing a lot of minerals as well. The stomach also produces enzyme and mucus to help protect itself against the acid strength. So geniusly, intelligently knows how to neutralize acid on time after the digestion. In contrast to the mainstream narrative that they say in heartburn or acid reflux is because of too much acid. Actually, it's the opposite, completely opposite. The reason of heartburn or acid reflux is a low stomach acid. It's a low hydrochloric acid. The reason is when there is hydrochloric acid is low in the stomach, the inspector of the esophagus does not close down. When it does not close down, the acids from the intestine, not even the stomach, it's going to back up and goes to the esophagus and causes acid reflux or heartburn. And unfortunately, the mainstream medicine suppress this part and they give them antacid, and it completely shuts off the acid productions in the stomach. We know the acid, antacid is mostly calcium, right? Is the pH of 14, and they completely suppress the production of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, which is already weak in production. So it's a misconception and it's not misunderstanding, it's just completely wrong to think that heartburn is because of too much acid. It's completely wrong. It's because of the low amount of acids. So, and we know that the stomach has different enzymes such as pepsin to digest proteins, and there are gastric chief cells that secrete pepsin in active form of pepsinogen, but pepsinogen has to be in the environment of hydrochloric acid in order to be converted to pepsin to break down and digest the proteins. So also parietal cells with the stomach lining secrete hydrochloric acid that lowers the pH level of the stomach. So stomach, it has to be acidic at all time when you're eating, on its own, intelligently would go back to pH 5 when there is nothing is in it. So at this point, I highly not only suggesting, it's absolutely wrong if you're having any form of liquid or alkaline water or carbonated water with food, because you're suppressing the productions and neutralizing the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and digestion does not take place. A lot of indigestion happens because of wrong drinking alkaline water or alkaline fluid, liquid with the food. You can do that when the food is moved completely to the intestine, because again, intelligently in small intestine, the pH gonna go to alkaline. So from acidic, super acidic in the stomach, it becomes alkaline in a small intestine. So I can talk about the rest of the pH if somebody else wants to take it over, or if you want me to finish with the pH and pass it to somebody else.
I would suggest that you finish. This way, there's a continuation.
Okay. Okay, I have only two more slides to go on. Then at the end, I'm gonna share my approach. So as we know, a small intestine, the pH level, it gradually goes to alkalines up to 9. So a small intestine has 3 parts, as we know, duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. These 3 parts, they have different pH level. So see that's how nature designed it. And we know that almost 90% of digestion takes place in a small intestine. So the nutrients such as vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fat, proteins, and water, they're all absorbed in a small intestine. But a small intestine is relying on accessory organs such as pancreas and liver for bile. So the reason that a small intestine becomes mostly alkaline is because of the alkaline bicarbonate that comes from pancreas, and also the bile salt that comes from liver. They both are super alkaline. So when the food comes to them, like almost 10% is digested in the stomach, but 90% is in the intestine. So, but it's going to be digested in alkaline environments because of the bile and because of the fluid bicarbonate from, or alkaline bicarbonate from pancreas. So this different part of duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, they have different pH, but gradually, when it comes to the ileum, it goes high to 9 pH, which is the almost highest in the digestive system. So as we know, the pancreas is the most accessory organ for our digestion, produces all the enzymes we need for digestion, for like a alpha and like a amylase that breaks down the rest of the carbohydrates, and proteases that break down and digest the rest of the proteins, and also lipase to break down and digest the fat, because these all have to be broken down into nutrients. Otherwise, the body doesn't know what kind of food we put in. It knows only digestion and turn them to nutrients and pass it to the bloodstream to be absorbed. So as we know that most of the absorption happens in the small intestines and by our microbes, mostly by our microbes. We have almost thousands, trillions microbes and bacteria that they are serving us, they're helping us, but they're feeding on fibers in our digestive system. So we give them food, they digest it for us. We give them some kind of fiber, but they digest our food for us. It's like a give and take. So we have almost 10 times more microbes in our intestine than ourselves. So the largest absorbent surface for the absorption is in the small intestines, that everything is going to be absorbed through villi and macrovilli of the intestine, that they are relying on these microbes. And the beauty about the small intestine is like an immigration. It has like a pastoral borders. So it's like everybody has to be passed or be rejected. They have a great, genius kind of pastorals standing up there, and they, every nutrient that is supposed to be passed is going to be passed by that immigration pastoral. The ones that they're not supposed, they're going to be returned. But the problem is sometimes the problem in the villi and macrovilli that the surface, the it kind of, when we get less microbes because of using long-term antibiotics, these microbes getting, they're reduced and they cannot do the job. So we get leaky syndrome, like a leaky gut syndrome, such as celiac disease, Crohn's disease. These are all because of this surface, absorbing surface on the small intestines, and that they are intelligent, doing a great job. But the problem of the past 100 years on this villi and microvilli and our good flora has been completely affected and in some cases are destroyed. That's why indigestion is skyrocketing around the world. So the last one is the large intestine or colon. Again, geniusly, again, the pH level comes lower to 5.5 in the beginning of the large intestine, because it has to absorb the remaining of minerals, the remaining of water. It needs a little bit of acidic or lower pH, and then gradually goes up to 7.5. So we have accessory organs such as pancreas. We know pancreas is the most alkaline organ, and we're relying on it for productions of all these enzymes for digestion, and also the beta cells for insulin and alpha cells for glucagon. And also the liver, as we know, also the bile, that is the main production of liver, is an alkaline. And these are all coming together. They're collaborating beautifully together to digest our food. So the next segment, I'm going to talk about my pathways, that's how I treat pathways in order to treat the gastrointestinal problems and bring health and restore health of digestive system. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to pass it to you guys, and let's just, yeah. Who wants to go next?
Dr. Rosenberg, you want to take it?
Thank you very much, but I think, okay, I prepare something for the large public in 10 minutes, because perfect. I think this presentation was excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Dr. Parvin. Thank you very much. But it's very scientific. It's not, I think, it's for high educated people like us, medical doctors, pharmacists, biologists, researchers, and so on. I understand this project is for the large public.
Yes.
Yes. For you know, integrative medicine is utilized for two categories of public. For uneducated people, like in different parts of the world, and for high educated people. The middle educated people will go to allopathic medicine, the middle educated.
Yes.
And we want to inform by these projects, health education projects, about the possibilities to use different soft therapies, different natural therapies, which are under the umbrella of complementary and alternative medicine. We want to inform the public, the large public, all over the world. Yes, exist good possibilities to prevent, first of all, to prevent different disease, and after to treat some of disease, not all. Here, I think, exists difference between us. We discuss about the possibility, every therapy have possibilities and have limits. Okay, thank you for I prepare something for large public. Every day I post in my newsletter, in LinkedIn, in my newsletter, Natural Therapies, something to promote the values of natural therapies, apitherapy, homeopathy, phytotherapy, and so on, and so on. I think host disabled participant screen sharing. Please to give me the possibility to present something very simple.
Has to do it.
Very simple. The possibility to use phytotherapy, medicinal and aromatic plants for the treatment of disease of oral cavity, a part of gastrointestinal, of the digestive system. I am not able to present.
Share.
Please. Now, it's possible.
You need to make him co-host.
Oh, no, share a screen. Anybody can share.
No, host. No, I don't know who
You
is
need
the
to
host.
okay. You need to allow him to share.
So where should I go?
Let me.
Dr.
wait.
Parvin is.
Yeah, I go to security.
No.
No.
1 minute. I'm taking over the hosting. Okay.
Yes.
1 moment.
It's your platform today.
Yeah, that's okay. I know, you know. Okay, you should be able to share screen.
I try. I prepare a short presentation.
Short but effective.
I hope.
Always.
Always. Okay.
There you go.
In action. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Now, perfect. Medicinal and aromatic plants, because I know Dr. Chiola will presented about the possibilities of aromatherapy, of essential oils in the treatment of gastrointestinal disease. Dr. Parvin presented the possibilities, the role of homeopathy in the treatment. And I try to present you the very simple possibilities offered by medicinal and aromatic plants for the treatment of oral cavity. The main disease in this area are gingivitis, stomatitis, early periodontitis, tonsillitis, pharyngitis, glossitis, etc. But these are the most known. For the treatment of this disease are recommended medicinal and aromatic plants with different therapeutic, with different pharmacologic effects, like antiseptic, anti-inflammatory effect, emollient, astringent, and cicatrizing effect. We have the possibility to use these medicinal plants in various pharmaceutical forms, like infusion, decoction, gargle, a very simple method, mouthwash, and so on. But tea, infusion, and decoction are more accessible. Some words about gingivitis. Is an anti-inflammatory condition of the gums caused by bacterial or fungal infection, improper, in a lot of cases, improper dental work, dental tartar, and so on. If left untreated, gingivitis can become chronic, and evaluate to periodontopathy, which is difficult to treat. What are the most important medicinal plants for the treatment of gingivitis? First, chamomilla flowers, chamomilla floss, the scientific name, sage leaves, salvia folium, aerial parts of St. John's wort, Hyperici herba, mint leaves, and also yarrow is a plant, but are a lot of other different medicinal plants which are able to prevent gingivitis and to treat this small problem of oral cavity. We see here chamomile flowers and sage, beautiful and very important aromatic, also are aromatic plants because essential oil is important active part of these medicinal and aromatic plants. In this image, I present aerial part of St. John's wort, Hyperici herba, and mint leaves, which are utilized for the treatment of gingivitis. Another problem, great disease of oral cavity, stomatitis, is an inflammatory condition of oral cavity, usually caused by bacterial, fungal, or viral infection. But they can also occur as a result of allergic reaction. For instance, or person which are allergic to raspberry fruits or walnuts, nuts, etc. The common cause of stomatitis is in a lot of situations poor food hygiene, and fungal infection caused by Candida and albicans. Some medicinal plants, or a lot of, but I mentioned only walnut leaves, Euglandis folium, and bark, willow bark, Salicis cortex. Tonsillitis, another disease, which I will discuss, I will present in some slides. Tonsillitis is an inflammatory, congestive, or purulent condition of the tonsils, which can be treated with gargles, also very simple, very accessible, probably a multi-millennial pharmaceutic form utilized from many times. Gargle obtained by extraction with alcoholic solvent, tinctures, extracts from chamomile flowers, basil leaves, sage leaves, thyme, and mint. We are here together with Dr. Chiola because all these plants, medicinal plants, are also aromatic plants rich in essential oils, which are good, powerful therapeutic effects, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. Generally, we speak antiseptic effect, which is very, very important for these plants. I want here to present the possibility to associate apitherapy, the power, the potential, the therapeutic potential of apitherapeutic of bee products like propolis and other honey, for instance, etc. With phytotherapy, this is a synergic combination between two natural therapies, apitherapy and phytotherapy, for the treatment of different disease located in oral cavity. Dental, we know it's really a great problem for the young children. It's a period when they are in dental eruption. Yes, but exists a very simple mode to treat, a combination of a medicinal and aromatic plant, rose, a combination of rose, Rosa damascena is in this image, the combination with honey. Mel rosatum is the name of this phytotherapeutic product, a combination, synergic combination of apitherapy and phytotherapy. And the extract of rose petals and purified honey is an excellent soft treatment without side effects, without any side effects for the young children in this difficult period of their life of dental eruption. Thank you for your attention. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and good health for all the participants in this very nice project.
Thank you, Dr. Rosenberg.
Thank you for your attention.
Dr. Parvin, you want to make a comment?
10 minutes, it was.
Perfect. No, your microphone, Dr. Parvin. Dr. Parvin, your microphone. Today is fantastic.
It's not a day because I know one thing after another. So, Dr. Rosenberg, that was awesome because especially, it's completely related to digestion. So you focus on like a stomatitis or mouth diseases because the digestion starts in the mouth.
Yes.
If there is any issues, any problems in the mouth, including teeth, including the mucous membranes, pH, saliva, parotid glands, or whatever, digestion still is going to suffer. Yeah, and plus it's another side of it, that the pH, when you show stomatitis, that it shows that the acidic pH of the mouth that causes this kind of infection. So the pH of the mouth it's very, very important in digestion.
Absolutely.
Very important to keep it at the level of alkaline. And so by hygiene, by using the best form of remedies or essential oils or phytotherapy or whatever to keep these salivary glands in healthy, keep them in healthy state, and that helps a lot with digestion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now it's your turn, Dr. Steve. Turn up. Unmute yourself.
There we go.
Yeah, see? What goes around comes around.
Bear with me one moment. There we go. Okay. To talk about intestinal health is it's a very, very big topic. Because like everybody just said, it goes from the mouth to the intestine and many other organs included. So I wanted to focus, besides giving some ideas on what essential oils to use. And for example, when Dr. Rosenberg was talking about the problem of teething in young children, well, we could also start using in some honey, 1 drop. Like, for example, you make a jar of 10 ml of honey, and you put 1 drop or maximum 2 drops of clove.
Mm-hmm.
And clove is a very good anesthetic, anti-inflammatory. Plus, it has a very good antibacterial and antifungal property. So, and I use that quite a lot with children. It helps them quite a bit. I also use it making, for example, I put it in ice cubes where we suspend the essential oil in the water, agitating it, shaking it, and then the child will suck on the ice cube. So we've got the effect of the cold, and we also have the effect of the essential oil. This is just to give an idea on how everything is really connected. Now, this picture tells us exactly that our health is our intestinal health. Now, Dr. Parvin gave us a very good outline, and gut health is actually referred generally to the physical and physiological and emotional functions of our body. Now, how this happens, it's not here that I want to talk about it, but let's make it understood that if my intestine and my digestion does not work, I'm going to start unbalancing my digestive system in general, and that will go and create a problem in my microflora. Now, the microflora has a very large importance, and maybe we'll talk about that one day, but we need to understand that if our intestine is not working, it will become inflamed, and we will fall into various problems, going from irritable bowel syndrome to leaky gut and a lot of other things. Can we work with natural remedies? The answer is yes. Definitely. But I want everybody to understand very well that it's not only with essential oils or medicinal herbs or homeopathy, because our digestive tract is involved in many, many things: toxins, pollution, diet, stress, drugs, and it will touch every single part of our body that has to do with cleaning our body up, absorbing the nutrients, getting rid of what we call toxins, and do not underestimate the stress toxins. So when you do, at least when I have to deal with an intestine that's not working, I will definitely also look into the emotional side, because that is fundamental. It's something that we need to understand. It's not something that is well, let's see what happens, let's try it. No, it's not a question of trying. It's a question of the fact that emotions will trigger various types of responses, and that has to do with our nervous system, and Dr. Parvin pointed that out too. So consider this. What's your diet? What toxins are you taking in every day? And am I exposed to environmental problems? Am I exposed to high stress, or even low stress but continuous for a long period of time? When we talk about essential oils, we have to talk about and I want this to be very clear for everybody that is listening, that we must talk about essential safety. It has to do with the extraction, the purity, and the certification of the oils. Why? When you go shopping and you want to take care of your diet and you want to take care of your food intake, you're going to read the label. You're going to read the nutritional values of the label. You're going to read what's in it. And that'll make you decide whether to use it or not. Well, unfortunately, with essential oils, that is not exactly what we can do. It's a little bit more difficult. But we can have the certification of telling us what's in there and what's the percentage of the active principles. So when you go to buy an essential oil, remember, pure, high quality, high effective, and certified essential oils are not the cheapest because there's much involved behind that. One other thing for essential oil safety. There's I like to call it a metropolitan legend, saying that we can take essential oils directly in our mouth. Yeah, when you start using, for example, essential oils like citrus oils, yeah, that's fairly safe. It's not going to be much of a problem. When you start using oils like thyme, oregano, cinnamon, cassia, and other oils that have very strong molecules, well, you can damage and do a lot of damage to your oral system and to your gastrointestinal system. Just for an example, in many books you're going to read, oh, look, if you've got digestive problems, take 2 drops of peppermint, menta piperita. Yeah, unfortunately, they do not put the open parenthesis. Do not use it orally if you have a gastritis or an ulcer, because the mint will just make it worse. You can use another mint, definitely, menta spicata, spearmint. You can use them topically because the topic absorption is going to help you much more than you even could imagine. So when you have to use an oil, and I definitely have to use certain oils to reach the intestine. I've got a dysbiosis. I've got a high deal of inflammation. We have to regulate the bacteria and the probacteria in our intestine. Yes, I do use them orally, but I put them in enteric coated capsules. So they pass the stomach and they get released within the intestine, the small and the large intestine, where we're not going to have a problem with the mucosa. Okay, so these are just, little things that must be stated, and they have to be well understood because we don't want to add problems to problems. Now, like I was saying, gut health isn't just about good digestion. It's got to do with the gut-brain axis. It's got to do with a regulatory system within our body that works on various areas. And those areas, if they're not correctly regulated by our body, they will give out inflammatory responses. And the inflammatory responses will bring you definitely to inflammatory disorders, but not only in your intestine. So we have to look into that very carefully. Now let's talk a little bit about an idea of what happens in my body when I do have a problem with my gut-brain axis. What are some of the symptoms that are most common? Well, first of all, we're going to have stomach discomfort. And that doesn't mean you're going to have acid reflux or you're going to have other problems. You can just be discomforted. You're not digesting correctly. Well, ask yourself, am I chewing my food correctly? Do I have a problem in my mouth? Does the food have the enzymes that it needs to help our body digest, and so on? Fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome. Why is that? Well, it's very simple. I am not getting what I am supposed to get from what I'm eating. Let's make it real simple. And you're going to have food cravings. Now, the food craving has a lot to do with the vagus nerve and our gut, and a response, a return response. Food craving is, you're going to look for carbohydrates and sweets. Well, that is one of the main pet peeves, as they say back home in the United States, that has to do with Candida albicans, which is one of the easiest problems that we have to deal with. And that's where I'll use an enteric-coated capsule, where I'll put 1 drop of oregano, for example, a drop of melaleuca, and I personally use either frankincense or copaiba to help lower the inflammatory state of the enteric tube, okay, the mucosa. Good results? Yeah, very. Does that cure the candida? No. Because if I keep eating food that continues to feed the candida more than anything else, it's going to come back. So when we do that, this is why we call it complementary integrated. So there's nutrition, there's herbs, and all the rest. Now, think that also the changes in weight. You start gaining weight or losing weight, and you haven't changed anything in your common everyday habits, and you don't understand what's going on, or you can't lose weight. Well, let's start looking into our intestine and start working out on a detox program. That'll be very important. Skin irritations. Well, in naturopathic medicine, we say the skin is the garbage can of your intestine. Your intestine tries to get rid of everything through the skin. And that is a healthy reaction. Unfortunately, we'll use suppressive medicines to send it back in, increasing the inflammatory states. Allergies, autoimmune conditions. We can go all the way up to ulcerative colitis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis with the autoimmune conditions, where we have noticed that when you take care of the intestine, these conditions receive a bit of a helping hand from the body. So the big question is, give me a solution, give me some ideas. Okay, let's start. Peppermint. Peppermint is fantastic for digestion. But like I said, make sure you don't have a gastritis, you don't have an ulcer. And if you do, well, you can breathe it. You can take the bottle and actually sniff. Or you can put it diluted, like 1 drop of peppermint oil and 3 or 4 drops. This way you don't irritate your skin, directly under your solar plex. And you'll start feeling the help. You'll start digesting better. It will also soothe your muscles. It will also soothe your muscles of your intestine. So you can also do a real simple and delicate massage in a clockwise sense on your abdomen. And that can be added to children. Yeah, it can be added to children. What we do with the children is we dilute it a little bit more. We'll bring the dilution a little bit higher. For example, you want to use it on small children. I've used it on babies, where I put practically 1 drop in 10 ml of a carrier. So we're talking about a 0.5% dilution. Did it work? Fantastic. Put it on the baby's feet, put it on the baby's tummy. Also, it is very good for gas problems. It is very good for the irritable bowel syndrome, which can lead to a combination of your bowel being either constipated or diarrhea. You can also add in, if you're going to do a massage, but here, naturally, my best advice would also be talk to somebody who is an aromatherapist, a qualified aromatherapist. You can add in cumin. You can add in coriander. You can add in lemon. You can add in, for example, you can add in basil, which is also a very good oil. And we can also think about clove. Now, clove is very important on many levels. We talked about it in the mouth. That's the only time I would use it directly in the mouth. If I have to use it for intestinal problems, it will go in a capsule. But for example, I'll use it on the factor of doing a very light massage. Why? Because it's very good for the intestinal spasms. It helps it very much. It also, when you want to work on the candida, okay, or you're gonna work on the stomatitis, do not use clove on the stomatitis because it will burn like crazy. What I use, for example, I'll use a dilution of 1 drop of Melaleuca alternifolia and 1 drop of Lavanda angustifolia. And it'll be in 2 drops of, for example, a fractionated oil. And you just apply it with a cotton tip, a Q-tip. Melaleuca does not burn, but it is a very good antifungal, antibacterial. Lavender will decrease immediately the inflammatory problems, so the pain will start subsiding. And Melaleuca will also favor the healing process. We want to go on a little bit more. We also have lemon. Now, what does lemon do? Lemon is a fantastic antioxidant. It takes away many problems of free radicals. Now, lemon is one of those that if you don't have a stomatitis, I suggest you put it in a jar with some water. You make a suspension. You drink, you sip it, and you gargle with it, because it will help you, since it also has a very good value for antibacteria and antifungi. It's a little bit lower on the viral part, but it will help your mouth refresh. Now, there's one thing. Many people have always said to me, yeah, but it's going to kill the bacteria. Well, it's going to kill the bacteria that we should not use, we should not have there. And how does the essential oil know that? It's been programmed that way for centuries to keep the plants alive. And it does the same thing in us. It is selective. And there are studies that have demonstrated the selectivity. It's not something that I'm saying just because I'm a specialist. We have studies out there saying this. When we talk about the tea tree oil, well, it's not, please remember, use also the Latin names, because, for example, there are plenty of different types of tea tree oils. And we have to use the tea tree oil we want in this case is Melaleuca alternifolia. Okay? Because, well, it also helps in a GI gastrointestinal infection. So that's why I would put it in the enteric capsule along with the oregano. It helps with For example, it can help you stop vomiting. It lowers the reflex of vomiting, and that can be done definitely by just even breathing it. Remember also, for example, tea tree oil is very good for herpes labialis, along with lavender. When we talk about candida, and this is not a digestive tract problem, but it's a urinary problem, in women who use a protection because they have urinary loss, well, when they do their hygiene, a drop, 1 or 2 drops of melaleuca and 1 or 2 drops of lavender. For example, we use that in Switzerland, and we have reduced to about a tune of 65% of recurrent infections of the urinary tract in women who have problems with urinary loss. Very simple. We can also use it, 1 drop and 1 drop on the protection itself. Now, is that only for women? No, you can also use it on the men. Remember also that it would be very interesting for gastrointestinal problems to use a towel where you put the essential oil on the tummy area, and then you put a warm towel, not hot, but warm, and you leave it there, because that's going to help you lower the problem of spasms, and it will help the melaleuca get into the system and work on its antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and so on. When we talk about lavender, well, lavender is one of the main oils that we have to deal with when we've got intestinal problems directly connected to emotional problems. It's not the only oil. It's not the only one. I could use bergamot. People don't like lavender. I could use bergamot. Why? Because it has, and this is the scientific part, it's got the same molecules as lavender. It's got the linalool and the linalool acetate. Putting it together, you get the effect of lavender. Relaxing. And that's something, this is where we come in on the emotional part. The oregano, I talked about it. And last but not least, remember ginger. Now, ginger is a great antimicrobial, antifungal, and antiparasitic. Very important in the intestine. Especially, for example, when you've got people who grind their teeth at night, many times they have parasites in their intestine, even if you do not see them in the excretion of the feces. Remember that it is a very strong help to increase your digestive power, especially due to the fact that it regulates the presence and the amount of bacteria. So if you've got bacteria that has migrated to areas where it's not supposed to be present, the selectivity of oregano, we're talking back again of oregano, will work on it. Ginger instead will work on the fact that it protects the stomach and improves the overall digestion process. Now, ginger is one of those oils where you can dilute it. You dilute it at a 10%, and you can put a drop under your tongue. Especially, naturally, when I talk about dilution, I'm talking about a dilution in a vegetable oil of your choice. So we've also seen that it helps for indigestion and heartburn. Now, this is just a real fast outline, because like Dr. Rosenberg could tell me, we could talk about just these 7 oils, I think, maybe for the next 8 hours between both of us. And remember one thing, the therapies can be combined. We can combine them with the herbal, medicinal. We can combine them in being careful with the homeopathic. We can combine them with massage therapy. So this is just a real fast idea, because they say essential oils and probiotics don't really go together. Well, there's a whole group of series that says the essential oils, and this is taken from Robert Tisserand's book of Safety of Essential Oils, where he has gone through a lot of literature, and literature says that the essential oil could selectively inhibit harmful bacteria without harming the probiotics. And this study was done in a yogurt full of probiotics, where they put the essential oil in, and they still found out that there was enough probiotics to make that yogurt still of an optimal effect, of an optimal potency to work on our intestine. General information, well, I'm going to leave you with just, 2 slides where give you an idea. Antispasms, carminatives, for, dyspepsia, nausea, and so on. These are oils that can be used. Now, would I suggest that you just go out there and pick these oils? No. I would suggest get a little bit of more culture if you don't have enough, or look up for an aromatherapist, a certified aromatherapist in your area. Now, one last note here that I want to leave us all with. We're working on an essential frontier. We're working on something that brings us all together. It helps us work together and trying to help people think more about what can be done. And this comes from a sentence from Steve Jobs that I sort of took and modified. We as researchers must stay hungry and stay curious and stay informed. But we as researchers must inform to increase the curiosity and to make sure that the hunger of the people who want to have ideas about natural therapies, they know where to find the information. So this is why I thank you all for everything that you have been doing, your presence, and everything that we have been sharing. And this is just the beginning. 2023, I think, will be a year of a higher integration, and that's why we're looking for people to help us in this job. Dr. Parvin, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Steve. All those essential oils that you just mentioned, I use them, but I don't know why did I use them. So I said, it's good to use peppermint. I use it.
Well, that's one thing that one day, between you and I think we're going to have a nice presentation on how our body is attracted, and we have to talk about photonics and physics, to the energy of the oil. And automatically we choose.
I know that they are very powerful. I'm not aromatherapist, I'm not herbalist, but I know they're very, very effective in some conditions. As I always say, I'm a very faithful homeopath, but not necessarily I say homeopathy is for everybody. So everybody has to come to homeopath. No. And as I always say, we are in a domain of natural medicine. We can integrate, we can, have integral treatments, which I do have integral treatments in my office. I've been criticized a lot by some other, classical homeopath. I'm a classical homeopath, but I mean, why are you using gemotherapy? Why do you use this? Why do you use that? Even the tissue salt, which is the homeopathic minerals, some of them, they say, we are not supposed to use homeopathic tissue salt. I said, you know what? It all depends on your wisdom. It all depends on your experience and on enough knowledge. If we have enough knowledge on every single natural modality, then we understand which one we can combine, which one we can integrate, and which one they have to work separately.
Yep.
So even last time I talked about even allopathic, system, which, sometimes maybe 5%, 10% we can integrate in the beginning for the first 6 weeks or 3 months. But after that, we switch the patient over to our modality. There is nothing is wasted. Everything is useful. And as Dr. Steve just mentioned with homeopathy and essential oil, that we have heard it, but I never read it from Dr. Honeyman, that is supposed to separate. I say homeopathy is natural, essential oil is natural, nature doesn't cancel each other. So, but the thing is, we have to be always careful when we what you call it, apply different system of medicine. We don't want to confuse the whole system of that being, the life force, the vital force. We don't want to confuse it. We always go with one system of medicine, see what happens, and then the other one, and then we can combine. There are a lot of things, I've been doing in my practice with a lot of success, and there are a lot of things that I'm not going to share it with some others, because it's just specifically individual. Individual in terms of being a homeopath as an individual, and also individual as a patient. There are many things that hardly we can share, but generally they're all working in the domain.
For those who are going to be listening to this, there are just two things I want to share, and I'm sure Dr. Rosenberg, Dr. Parvin, Dr. Clark, and Dr. Pankaj will agree on. First of all, natural does not mean it cannot cause problems.
Yeah.
Secondly, the biggest problem we have with the outside world is that they don't take the time to research. Because, for example, in the world of essential oils, oh, you can't use this, you can't use that under these conditions or under those conditions. Then when you go and you look into the research and you do an in-depth research, sure, you can't use this, you can't use that for 25 milligrams per kilo weight, which is a dose we would never think of using. That is, we're looking for the toxic doses, but that's not a problem. And Robert Tisserand is a specialist in this, and his book is enlightening. Read the book of his it's thing like this, and you start understanding that we also have to educate people on understanding research, and it should be something that people who write books should do way before they start writing them, because we are keeping people away. I personally have used essential oils on children that were just born. And I use the oil, for example, at a 0.02%. And he just came out of his mom's womb. No problems. So that's why I say, let's stay hungry and let's bring out the information correctly.
Correct. Always.
Thank you all.
Yeah, always. Thank you. Correct information, enough knowledge, clarity, and confidence makes us a great practitioner. Lack of any of these elements, we better not to practice.
No.
That's the bottom line, and in any modalities. So that's why, a bunch of experts coming together to share. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Steve. Dr.
So I wanted to just share one image here, and so if you enable me to share the screen
right away, just give me 1 minute.
This is our last session, so I thought this might be something very appealing to.
Okay, I'm sending you in as a co-organizer. Go ahead.
So we have been, discussing about, the use of natural ways to treat ourselves with the available remedies we have coming from the plant extracts. So, we are focusing today on gastrointestinal tract, and we learned about the role of pH in regulating hunger, in regulating the catabolism and anabolism. And I think what the public needs to understand is the importance of the food and from where we are, getting the extracts to treat us. So whether we are, going to a doctor to have some natural medicines, they need to understand that we are always using natural medicines in our everyday diet. And having, this image shows us that this is, an example wherein the stomach is filled with vegetable, fruits, meat, any other kind of plants extract we will see in the nature. So that is always providing us with those extracts which are important to treat in any kind of disorder. It will be neurological, micrological, or anatomical. So yeah, so that's a message for all the viewers that it's not always important to have a synthetic medicine to treat you, but there are other ways you can treat yourself, not for every disease, but there are natural ways to treat as well. And we are taking it, through the natural environment. But when we are in a hunger mode, we're always eating food, and that food is getting catabolized or anabolized, and we are getting the same extract, which we'll be receiving from, going to a natural therapist. So it's very important that we all, understand that, whatever medicine we are getting, even synthetic, are being prepared by the extracts we are available in the environment. Now, when the questions which might come up to the viewers are, eat a high fiber diet. Yes, that's one of the messages we need to have when we are studying the gastrointestinal tract. Be sure you're getting both soluble and insoluble fibers. Yes, that's very important because they may have different ways of disseminating the extract they have to all the parts of body. Minimize your intake of food high in fat. So yes, definitely you want to have appropriate amount of the fibers, the minerals, and as well as you need to have fats, but you need to have that in regulated amount so that it does not interfere with any kind of extracts we are going to receive. We should be very selective about the lean meats we are going to have. Yes, they do provide us some natural proteins or some animal proteins, but it's very important to select them, which are very important for the gastrointestinal tract. Then add probiotics to your diet. Yes, again, very important. Adding them not every day, but at certain times of the week. So having that schedule. Follow a regular eating schedule. That's also very important in regulating the rhythm of the body and also controlling the pH. Drink plenty of water. Yes, water certainly helps in dissolving all the natural and the synthetic molecules. So yes, so overall, if we tend to understand more about the natural medicines available, if we also understand the gastrointestinal tract and take care of it, then definitely we are able to overcome any kind of disorders which may have and probably treat them by taking natural diet. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Your microphone.
Dr. Parvin, you're muted.
Today, it was short but great, Dr. Pangaj. It was awesome. Yes, when it comes to food, there's a misconception a lot about food. They say healthy food, fruit is healthy, this vegetable is healthy. Not necessarily healthy food is the right food. The right food should be for the genetic code of the person. So not necessarily everything in the food department, food store is good for me, it's good for you. That's why we all of us have to be our own doctor, our own physician, to understand exactly what the level of our digestion function is and what area we have to work on. There people that a lot of vegetables of fiber is doing great for them. A lot of people that cause a lot of issues in them. So these are something that we have. Nobody can understand exactly what the digestive system of that individual works but themselves. So at this point, not necessarily, I just want to make a comment here, not necessarily everything that is in a range of vegetables or range of fruits or range of this healthy food is right for the person. That's why I always design a right nutrition according to their genetic code. So that's why, because we don't want to make the body work hard with the wrong food that is called healthy food. Because when we put the wrong food in our body, the body doesn't know it's tasted as an antigen. It's considered as an antigen. That's why it's attacking a lot of gastrointestinal tract linings in celiac disease, in Crohn's disease, because of wrong food. And very, very important to teach people and that what is right for that individual. So,
Dr. Clark, thanks for coming in. Happy you were able to finish one and get into the other.
Okay, can I make a comment? Dr. Clark is beautiful today.
Yeah. She's radiant.
Just today.
Oh,
all the time. But
you're more radiant.
Your hair. No, it's all the time, but I mean, it's more beautiful.
Well, I really do appreciate that, and especially during this particular time like this, I am kind of running nonstop to nothing. And do not mind telling you, probably my presentation is going to be more of a case study, which will probably include myself. And actually, I'm so thankful again for us coming together with this and bringing this type of knowledge to the forefront. And I always learn something great and something new, and just so thankful for us to have an opportunity to be able to share. So to be a little transparent, actually this whole week, I've really not been feeling my best. And it's had to do with the gastrointestinal system. So when, of course, I saw the title of that, I was like, oh, okay, I definitely have to get in and kind of chime in on this, and probably more from a learning experience than anything else, which that exactly what it has been. To kind of go into even talk about what you mentioned in the very beginning, Dr. Parvin, in reference to stress, more or less, and the autonomic nervous system and digestion, and looking at how that really does impact you. So I must admit, my stress level has probably been a lot higher than usual. Good, a lot of great things coming, but just having to really push through to get some things done. And when you said that, it automatically clicked in my mind, so that is what that is, because I always talk about when you start having certain symptoms, especially when they're quirky and you can't quite figure them out, it's usually some imbalance in the autonomic nervous system. And surely if the sympathetic is up higher, things like that, you're not going to digest well, you're not going to feel well. You could actually feel nauseated, and you could actually even have vomiting, of course, with that. And just kind of looking at how our bodies are so beautifully designed that I'm just going to say God gave us two brains, one up top and then one in the gut. And we so forget how important the gut really is to not only our well-being, but also, I have to say it, our mental health as well. So by the fact of how important it is in the serotonin production. So if you have an issue there, well, then where else are you going to have an issue? Definitely, within the brain and with your neurotransmitters and any other system that impacts. So what I love about what we're doing here is, we're not only bringing to the forefront the education about this particular arena, and because a lot of us have that knowledge. And once again, it always amazes me. We're from different countries. We've had different backgrounds and training, but yet when we start talking, the language is the same.
Yeah.
So that is so beautiful. I love it. in talking about the autonomic nervous system and how it does play such an important role in our well-being. And as you mentioned, I loved how you stated from a cultural standpoint, what do we do when you sit down at the table? You want to grab hands and usually give a blessing over your food. And that more or less sets the tone for your body to be able to calm down, come into that parasympathetic state where you can actually begin to relax, hopefully rest, and restore. Be able to really take in the nutrients that you need. So if you're not getting to that point, you really aren't digesting properly, and you will have subsequent issues as what I had probably this past week. And may not even realize why it is that some of these pretentious symptoms continue to come up over and over again. So I really, really thank you for that particular point. When we are looking at treatment modalities, just phenomenal information. And one of the things I actually had done was make sure that I had incorporated ginger into my, diet to be able to help. And even just last night, started using the lavender essential oils just to kind of, I said, I just want to make sure I'm relaxed and, I can get a good night's sleep. So when I saw your presentation, of course, Dr. Steve, that just set the tone, of course, Dr. Rosenberg, how you just bring it all together. Just so love it all. Don't worry, Dr. Panjic, don't worry, I hadn't forgot about you too. So it's all wonderful. The other thing that I want to bring to the table of how I look from working with the gut from a natural standpoint is just what it is. Going to an anti-inflammatory diet. So really, really being very conscious about the type of foods that you're intaking into your body, making sure that you're eliminating processed foods. Surely, probably want to be more specific and more careful about the type of even animal products that you do put into your body. And in looking at the anti-inflammatory body, it's a little different than just the plant-based, because there are certain food groups that you actually may want to eliminate in the process. So therefore you continue to allow the gut to be able to heal. And I believe we did touch, when we talk about leaky gut, what happens is, you get your junctions that are actually damaged. So therefore what happens is these little food particles actually go through that, where the barrier is supposed to block that. And what it does, the body has a response to that. And over a continuous amount of time, if you don't heal that, those little particles that get in there, the body attacks it. And that's how you get all these autoimmune disorders or this inflammatory response. So over a period of time, you have to give the gut what it needs to be able to repair itself. I also believe fasting is a great way to be able to give the body a complete break and allow it to be able to heal. In the process of that, you're completely right. Not everything is for everybody. So you really have to look at the type of foods that really are giving you what you need. And if you eat something and you don't feel energized after that, well, more than likely that is not a food that really is in your best interest to continue with. So when I'm looking at trying to balance out the gut, lean meats and fish, fresh fruits and vegetables is what I tell everyone to start. If you are having problems with arthritis and things like that, I would really advise probably eliminating gluten products. And even though you may not necessarily done any testing to find out, if you have a gluten sensitivity or not, more than likely, if you are having joint pain, brain fog, and things like that, there's a very good possibility that you do. So just eliminating it is a very quick and easy way to be able to figure that out. The other thing, again, that you really do want to be able to avoid is certain products that create mucus, such as, your milk products as well. And of course, our biggies, sugar and salt. Now, as you continue to be able to introduce things into your diet, be very conscious of what you are putting into it and how it makes you feel. Again, I always tell you, food is supposed to give us energy. So if you eat something and literally within 30 minutes, if you're not really feel as though you're replenished, then once again, that may be something that is not in your best interest to continue to take into your body. So in saying all of that, what we really have to do is be very conscientious of what is for us and understand that what is for us may not necessarily be for everyone else. But as we're moving forward this great journey of how we are learning to incorporate so many other modalities, I'm so excited about learning more about aromatherapy, even as well as the homeopathy, being able to unblock different pathways and how that's going to be able to help us in the process. These are the things that are going to make a difference, not only in our health, but in our lives. I've had a wonderful opportunity to meet a gentleman that wrote a book called Your Health is Your Wealth, Dr. James Dazzy Jordan. It's absolutely phenomenal and only so true. So as we are moving forward this beautiful platform, I must admit I am feeling better, but it did cost me a wonderful trip that I was looking to have this weekend with some wonderful colleagues that I just decided that this is just not the time. So being able to pay more attention to your own stress level and what you are putting into your body is going to allow you to have your best health, which surely will be able to help you to develop your best wealth. So I'm going to conclude with that. I won't do any slides today for the second time. And once again, it's so wonderful.
That was awesome, Dr. Clark. Thank you so much.
I have a question for you, Dr. Clark.
Sure.
Do you like the perfume of lavender?
I love it.
Okay. During the day, if you need something to help you work on the stress, instead of using lavender, use bergamot.
Okay.
Because bergamot will keep your mind very awake, but it will lower the impact of the stress.
Wonderful. Noted.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Clark. So when it comes to nutrition, I'm going to go continue my my talk in a 2 seconds. When it comes to food, and you mentioned intermittent diet, or the same thing with sympathetic and parasympathetic, that we have to bring the body, a super hyperactivity to rest in order